Hey guys, looks like we got a few in here. Craig, Darren, Texas. Um, how y'all doing tonight? Okay. I hope everybody's doing good. I've been a little worse for wear the last couple of days, but I'm pushing through there. So um, I've got a few new things that I created for my for my live stream. I have a new Evil Dead Chick logo. Um, and I also have a new Dana on Deck logo, which is actually I figured out like a few minutes before I got ready to do this how to do the overlay where it's transparent. So I was kind of proud of myself for doing that. I hope you guys like them. I mean, I don't know how much people pay attention to these little pictures and things like that, and overlays that are on things, but I enjoy making them, so I thought I would just make me some new ones and call it good. But I hope everybody can hear me okay and see me okay and all that good stuff. That's good to hear, Craig, that you're doing well. So this is, I believe, week 6 of Cheese Extreme Wednesday, and we've got another couple of movies to talk about and discuss. Unfortunately, time got away from me again, once again, and I did not get to actually complete the forest. Thanks, Darren. I actually had to look up how to do that, how to take the white background out of it, so that it would be, just basically an overlay. Now, the other picture, the Evil Dead chick picture, is just like a JPEG. I created it, did a little modifications to the actual artwork to the Evil Dead poster. So I'm hoping that having something like that doesn't get me a copyright strike. I'm hoping. But it's actually easier to do than you would think. I have Photoshop, which helps me immensely. And I'm sorry, guys, to be eating, but I was finishing up my snack, and I thought I might be able to finish it up before the show got started. But y'all just bear with me. I see other people eating sometimes on live streams. I mean, I hope you don't think it's too tacky. And there is something on my glasses or something in the corner of my eye that is driving me crazy. I don't know what it is. It's almost like a glare, and I thought I had a smear on my glasses or something. Maybe one of these days I'll break down and get contacts like Steve seems to think I should. But like I was saying, unfortunately, I did not get to finish the forest. But I think I've seen enough of it to be able to talk about it. I mean, I knew it was cheesy anyway, but I did want to get to the end of it, but like I said, time just got away from me today, and hopefully there won't be too many times when I do these Cheese Extreme Wednesdays when I haven't, completed watching both of the movies, because usually the movies that I talk about are ones that I've seen multiple times. The Forest is just one that I haven't had quite time enough to get back to. So, we're going to get to those here in just a second. But I did want to remind everybody, especially for people that weren't, or I didn't see in the chat last night, that I have a new way of advertising My streams, I mean, for those of you that are subscribers to my channel, and I'm not saying that you have to be, but you probably get notifications when I'm going to have a stream. The other way I'm going to be advertising is I've created my own. Craig, you said that snack looks good. Well, actually, it's just turkey, cheese, and I put a little, and you guys might think this is gross, I put a little Caesar dressing on it. That to me enhances it a little bit and makes it more than just a plain sandwich. But anyway, I have created a Facebook page specifically for the Deadites on Deck stuff. And that is where from now on I will be advertising my streams. Excuse me, I will not be advertising them on any other page other than my personal page. My personal page and the Deadites on Deck. And like I said last night, I sent invites to several of my friends on Facebook that I thought might be interested, and allowed them a way to keep up with when I was going to have a live stream. And so if I missed you and you're a friend on Facebook, don't take offense, because I was kind of, I was pressed for time when I was making it because I was trying to get ready for a stream too. So I may have missed some people that might in particular be interested, but there is a link in the description for this video where you can click on it and you can like the page and all that. And I was also telling everybody, if you do a podcast, if you do a live stream, whatever, feel free to advertise on my page. I do not mind. I know, I think Dirk's doing something. Old Curly Jaws does some stuff. A lot of you are starting to do different things. I think even maybe John Cressup was doing something. But anyway, feel free to advertise in there. Unless you're doing a porno or something like that, I would really prefer that not to be on there. But anything other than that would be fine. I'm about to get this sandwich finished. There are also other links to my Morbid Beauty Boutique shop on Etsy, my TeePublic t-shirt offerings. What else have I got on there? The actual link to my channel in case you wanted to subscribe. Text, did you say, is it made with real Caesar as opposed to fake Caesar? Well, this is Kraft Caesar dressing made with olive oil. So I don't know. I'm not sure if you would call that real Caesar or not. I mean, it's not like, sometimes you go to the restaurants and they say they make the stuff from scratch. So it's definitely not that. But and on my Etsy shop, as I've said before, I have candles, stickers, pint glasses, different things on there. And we have the debut of the little Tony stickers, although I don't think I've put those on the Etsy shop. I need to. I just can't recall now. I know I printed out some to have some ready in case somebody wanted to buy them. But now I'm wondering if I actually put them on the storefront for the shop. Okay. So, that's all the housekeeping stuff. If you guys have any questions about any of that, feel free to put in the chat. If you try clicking on a link and it doesn't do what you expect it to do, or takes you to a page that's non existent or something, let me know and I will look into it and try to give you a better URL for it. But we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to switch it up a little bit here. I was thinking about doing final exam first, but I think, especially since I didn't get to the end of the forest, I think I'll cover it first and talk about as much as I can of it. And then we'll go to final exam, which I was able to refresh me on final exam, although it's not it's not like I haven't seen it many times. Texas, you say you still want a goddamn Bob sticker. You think that would get me pulled off of Etsy if I had goddamn in there? I'm just wondering. I don't know. I guess if somebody reported it, I might. But anyway, we're going to talk about the forest first. And dang, this movie, it's a Code Red release, but it has a damn slip cover on it. Do you believe that shit? Of course, they put slip covers on a lot of movies now, even bad ones. Now I'm having trouble getting that back in there. You doubt it? Okay, well, maybe then it's safe to actually put it on there. So, little plot synopsis on the forest. Two couples plan a trip into the forest, but they didn't count on a killer on the loose with a taste for human flesh. The maniac is haunted by the ghosts of his children, who come to the aid of the campers in this unique entry into the killer in the woods genre. From 70s exploitation director Don Jones, who did Lethal Pursuit and Schoolgirls in Chains, featuring cult star Gary Kent, Satan sadist, and thrill killers, Stafford Morgan from The Legend of Bigfoot, and Corky Pigeon. And yes, I guess that is the real name of this person, TV Silver Spoons. Now see this slasher classic in HD. Now, guys, it is in HD, but I'm not going to lie to you. It doesn't look that great. And Darren, you say, I didn't get to see the forest either. I pretty much know Final Exam really well. Yeah, I know Final Exam like the back of my hand. And, you know, when I tell you how slow the forest is, and that's the main reason why I have been unable to get through it so far. You may be thinking, well, why in the world do you have it on the Cheese Extreme Wednesday? Well, here's why. Because of the characters in this thing, mainly, the father character is just so bizarre. I mean, like, you can see him there, sitting in a chair with a knife. And you can see the ghosts of his kids there down in the series of pictures at the bottom here. But I mean, I don't know, and maybe if I watched it all the way to the end, maybe I'd have an epiphany and I would understand it. But I don't really understand why the guy's gone crazy and why he's killing these campers. And I'm not saying that you got to explain it. I'm just saying that it was just very oddly made. Usually movies like this, there is some sort of motive. His kids did die, but I can't recall what happened to them. Perhaps counselors caused their deaths, you know, some sort of like Jason Voorhees or something. I just, you know, I didn't catch that. Texas, you say, I just bought both of them last month, and it took forever to get the four. Stupid Amazon. Yeah, Amazon can be a pain in the rear end at times. like I said before, I was supposed to get Tenebrae the end of this month. Now it's not coming out till August 2nd, which is great because if I had got it in my hot little hands on August 2nd, it would have been fine because that's Steve and I's wedding anniversary. What a great wedding anniversary present. But sadly, they're not going to get it here to me till the 9th of August. They're going to make me wait about a week later before I get it. And I'm like, what is this shit? Why are they doing that? So I totally understand you saying stupid Amazon because some of the stuff that they do just doesn't make any sense at all. Hey, Menelect, you say hit the like button. Yeah, if you want to. I'm not going to demand that anybody do that. But, if you want to, you certainly can. You can hit the like button and subscribe on my channel. You can also hit the like button on the Facebook page for Deadites on Deck. Or you can do neither. But so yeah, like I was saying, the plot drags really bad in this movie, and I think the only thing that really saves it, the movie as a whole, is the wackiness of some of these characters, which I've seen in other movies. For instance, Memorial Valley Massacre, which I will more than likely cover at some point. This reminds me a lot of Memorial Valley Massacre in that the story seems to drag and drag and drag. And people accuse Quentin Tarantino of having these humongous talky scenes in his films. That's what you see during the majority of this film. I kid you not, is these couples that are camping. It's mostly the women. The guys go out to do something and they leave the two women alone. And they spend so much time just sitting around on rocks or sitting at the campsite talking about nothing, essentially, maybe relationships or something, but it does nothing to move the story along. But some of the conversations are so wacky that, and you can tell these are very poor actors too. The kids are probably the best actors in the whole entire movie. But that is something that makes it cheesy, how underwhelming the whole movie is, how the characters just seem to talk in nonsensical circles. It's not a good movie. It's not even that entertaining other than listening to them talk in nonsensical circles, and you're like, what in the world was this guy thinking when he was making this movie? Which he probably wasn't thinking very much. He's probably thinking, I'm just making an exploitation movie. It doesn't have to make sense that much. It doesn't... It doesn't have to really have a coherent plot. And there's people that like this movie a lot. I'm just not one. I can appreciate the wackiness. I can appreciate the exploitation aspect, the low budget aspect, the corny lines in it, the bad acting. Those all culminate to make this a cheesy movie, and that's why I have it on Cheese Extreme Wednesday. But as far as a movie that you just want to sit down and watch and have a lot of fun with, in my opinion, The Force is not going to be that one. Because it seems that you drain your brain power watching this. And you drain your physical energy because you keep waiting for something to happen and it just drags on and on and on. So, and I don't remember there being a lot of blood in the parts that I saw. So, if you're looking for gore, you're not going to find it here. So, anyway, as you can probably tell, I'm not going to talk too much at length about the forest. I'm probably going to talk more about final exam, which is coming up here shortly. Um, Darren, you say text you on about the suicide forest film. Uh, Texas, you say yes, Darren. I thought it was awful. Darren, you say agreed. I hated it. Thought it was going to be good. Uh, And Texas, you say, I'm sure this forest is better than that piece of garbage from a few years ago. Oh, well, there's no doubt about that. Because a lot of the newer stuff doesn't even have some of the outrageous things that we find entertaining in them. They're just, like you said, a piece of garbage. Hey, TJ. But yeah, that movie actually, Darren in Texas, probably had the potential to be a good movie, but look what they did to it, like they've done to a lot of movies. So I'm not saying that I hate this movie, and perhaps I need to give it more of a chance. And I wouldn't discourage anyone from buying it. Um, the only thing I'm saying is, just be prepared, is all. Um, so this does have some special features on it. It has a HD scan way back from 2016. It has commentary with Don Jones and Gary Kent, commentary with Don Jones and Stuart as Vajorzen. I'm sure I'm massacring that last name. There is a featurette on here and the original trailer. And if y'all want to talk a little bit more about the forest, we can. I will try to answer any questions you might ask. But I think I've about told you why I think it's cheesy, and why I think it's not really all that great of a film. It does have its moments. Yes, TJ, it is hump day, isn't it? Oh, it gets so hot back here in this back room, where our computers are at, and most of the time our computers are on. I think I might. Steve will watch this live stream and he'll kill me. Because I have the app for our thermostat on my phone, and my phone's laying right here. So I'm going to be adjusting the thermostat. All the accomplishments of higher technology. So, well, it is 84 degrees outside, which is not quite as hot as it has been. But like when I start sweating on the back of my neck, and it's getting too hot. So, does anybody want to, ask anything about the forest, or comment on anything? Let's see. TJ, you say, I haven't seen Forrest for a while. I think I remember the little girl was a lot older in real life. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the picture of her on here, and it seems like that they tried to style her hair in such a way as to make her look younger. But you can almost tell that she's older. Texas, you say, I hear you. Darren, you say the Forest 1982 did have a creepy killer. Yeah, the dude is creepy at times, the way he stares and just sits there in that chair with the knife. And I'm not going to deny that. It does have that going for it. Darren, you say Gary Kent is always cool to talk to on Facebook. Maybe I should try to, strike up a conversation with him. How old is that guy now, Darren? Do you know? He's got to be pretty old. But I'll give you guys a couple of minutes in case you want to bring up anything else before we move on to this second feature. I mean, I didn't intend for this really to be a super short live stream, but it may turn out to be quite a bit shorter than some of my live streams. Wow. I mean, I knew he'd be older. I just didn't realize he was that old. Because you say he's pushing 90, I'm guessing, but he's pretty active. But that's a good thing. That means that his body is still in good shape, and evidently his mind as well. Anybody got anything else they want to bring up about the forest? I don't want to ramble, but also I don't like those, what is it they say in Pulp Fiction, uncomfortable silences. And I feel like if because there is a delay, a little bit of a delay, then between me asking you guys something and you guys being able to respond, I just, I worry that there might be these huge pauses, and like if somebody's watching this later, they'll be like, what in the hell is going on there? Darren, you say, I've read that Tarantino character that Brad Pitt plays in Once Upon a Time was based on Gary Kent. Yeah, Darren, actually, I heard that too. And probably Gary Kent is probably one of the best things about this, because he is creepy and he's got that whole creepy vibe, like you don't know what he's going to do next. You don't know if he's going to jump up out of his chair and stab you to death, or slit your throat. What's he going to do? So probably Gary Kent and the kids are the best things about the movie, actually. But if y'all want to add anything else about the forest, feel free to. I would still recommend it for a watch or two. Just, don't expect a whole lot. Okay, so that means we are going to move along. Gary Kent or David Hess? Well, if you're saying who is the better of the two, well, see, David Hess might pull off creepy, but I think he pulls off like batshit out of control crazy ass, is what David Hess does best. Gary Kent was a little bit more subtle. He was more creepy and subtle. And David Hess was like, I am going to rape you, and then I'm going to kill you, and then I'm going to rape you again. And he's a madman. In films, at least. Darren, you say, yeah, that forest cover art with the eyes has been on loads of different film covers. Oh, yes. That is a common image. And what I thought was funny was, although the knife is bigger on the cover art for the forest, we also have a figure holding a knife for Final Exam. I was like, that's kind of strange that the two movies I picked to do this week prominently feature a knife on them. But moving along to Final Exam, I'm not sure how many of you have seen Final Exam. I know Darren has. This is a college slasher movie. I ran across this one when I was quite a bit older. This one was not one that I watched when I was younger, like a lot of the horror films that I grew up with. This is actually, believe it or not, it's kind of like a Code Red Scream Factory dual release, Yes, You are exactly right, TJ. Final Exam is another 80s movie that has a Scream Randy character. Only this guy's name is Radish. I have never heard anybody be referred to by name as a vegetable. It's just like that was so unique. Um, so a little plot synopsis about final exam. At Lanier College, the semester is almost over. Exam week is coming to a close when some upperclassmen play a prank by staging a phony terrorist attack. Now, this scene, although this was early 80s and they could get away with it, now with all the real life school shootings and stuff like that, if you did some shit like they did in this movie, oh my gosh, you'd probably be going to prison for a long, long time. Because even my mom was shocked because one of the first times I was watching it, I was watching it in the living room at my parents' house, and my mom came through there right at the scene where they played the prank, where the fraternity boys have ski masks on. They drive up in a van. It appears that they shoot a bunch of people. It looks like there's dead people all over the campus lawn. Then they drag away the bodies and put them in the van and drive away. Um, so it, now it is even more frightening to see that than it was when this movie came out, I'm sure. Because you're thinking, oh my God, what is going on here? Everybody's getting massacred. But what it turns out to be is a fraternity prank. And the reason why these boys do this is to create a diversion so that their fraternity leader, or fraternity president, whatever you want to call him, he has to make an 82 on his chemistry exam. So he wants to create a diversion where he can make it look like his test paper has already been graded. He puts an 82 up there and circles it while everybody else is looking at what's going on the lawn. They're all, everybody's getting up out of their seats, and the teaching assistants that are supposed to be watching everybody while they're taking the test are at the window looking out. Um, but so I don't think that part of the movie would ever get filmed now. There is no way on earth that would happen. Um, Darren, you say, up until the Code Red release, Final Exam was almost impossible to get in the UK. The VHS was hard enough to come by. I was trying to think, like, if I watched it on VHS the first time around or not. Actually, sorry guys, I thought I had this logo adjusted the way I wanted it, but it seems like to be too big, so I'm just adjusting it a little bit there. Okay, that's a little better. Uh, but yeah, I can't remember if I watched it on VHS the first time around or it was actually when the DVD came out and I got it. I'm a little fuzzy on the details. Yes, Darren, Evil Laugh was another one, and I want to cover that one as well. Barney is the character, if I'm remembering correctly, that is the Randy-esque Scream type of character. So we had these guys way before Scream. A lot of people say, and I love the Scream movie, but a lot of people think that that's when that first got popular. But what they don't realize is there were several films in the 80s primarily that had these characters. Just people just aren't aware of them, like a whole bunch of people aren't aware of them. Darren, I don't think I have ever reviewed Evil Laugh, but I love that film. And I think that I will cover it on Cheese Extreme Wednesday when I get to my E's. Because right now I'm going in alphabetical order and just picking the next ones out that I consider cheesy movies. And Evil Laugh has some creepy moments and it has some cheesy moments. So be on the lookout for that because it's probably going to be coming up soon. Um, Although I don't have a Blu-ray of it, but I do have a I don't think I have a Blu-ray of it. I don't think there's been a Blu-ray. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong though. But I can pull out my DVD and watch it again as a refresher. TJ, you say, yeah, Darren, exactly. Not that original Kevin Williamson, LOL. Oh, boy. Um, so, why is this one cheesy? Well, a lot of reasons. Again, it's very low budget. Um, there are some, like, I just find myself laughing at the fraternity guys, especially because there's one of the fraternity guys, Wild Man, they call him, and he's the instigator of that prank. He's like the head of that prank, where their fraternity president was able to get his 82 on his test. Um, but I swear to you, and I watched this again last night just to confirm this. I swear to you, there's one scene where Wild Man and the head of the fraternity go back to the frat house, and I guess Wild Man's been drinking a little bit too much, and so he's got whipped cream where they've just treed a guy that's trying to get into their fraternity, and the reason they treed him. I'm going to explain to you what treeing is, if, in case you haven't seen this movie or you don't know what that is. Because I wouldn't have known what it was until I watched this movie. And I don't really know if it's a real thing in fraternities, like the hazing type of stuff, or not. But they had just treated Gary, a guy that's pledging to the fraternity, because he put his pledge pin on his girlfriend's sweater. And they caught him and they're like, "Where's your pledge pin?" And then so they take him out, and a bunch of the guys are carrying him, and he's yelling and hollering because he knows what they're going to do. So they take off all of his clothes. He's down to his tidy whities. They tie him to the tree. They put ice in his underwear. And just think, guys, how this would feel, being a male, how this would feel. They spray whipped cream all over him, dump cold water over top of him, and then just basically leave him there until Janet, his girlfriend, can come and untie him. So, needless to say, because they've treated Gary, Wild Man still has a can of whipped cream, and he's like knocking against the walls and stuff like that, and he's spraying it in his mouth. He's got it running out of his mouth, and all of that. And so then he gets, and my light again just went out. But I may try to fix it here in a little bit if y'all don't mind. But so at one point he gets out. I'm guessing it's deodorant. It's like spray deodorant because he's spraying it under his arms and stuff. And then he sprays it in his mouth. It's like, dude, what are you doing? But that's just how over the top some of these characters are. You've seen characters get drunk in other movies and they don't all spray deodorant in their mouth. Wouldn't that be kind of harmful to do something like that? And then they talk about breaking into the training room because evidently Wild Man plays football, and Radish is supposed to do his equipment inventory. Well, they break into Radish's room and kind of harass Radish, who's a really skinny guy, and they like come in here and intimidate him, and they somehow steal the keys he's got to the training room or the locker room or whatever you want to call it. And so they're planning on getting some pain pills and telling some other people like that are wanting to give them money for pills that are like speed that's going to keep them awake. And they're like, we don't have to tell anybody that they're pain pills, because Wildman said, well, those things wouldn't help me study. So when he gets the pills, he's going to like mess up the training room. And I guess they're thinking they're getting revenge on Radish for kind of like getting them in trouble because he thinks when they do the prank, the terrorist style prank, he thinks this through the whole movie, that there's crazy people everywhere. And so he calls the cops, and the sheriff shows up, and the sheriff's a real dick. And he shows up, and he wants to run the license plate of the brown van. And Radish has got the license plate number. And they find out that that's Wildman's dad's van. He's the guy that owns it. And his dad is named John Chambliss after a producer on the movie, I think, which is kind of funny. But the sheriff walks up to Wildman and he's like, that's your daddy, Bulldog. And these are like North Carolina people, so it sounds kind of southern. And I'm not sure. I don't think all these people were from North Carolina, so I'm sure they maybe had some kind of dialect coach to help them a little bit with that. Because I think some people were way out west, maybe not as far as California, and then some people were back east. So I think maybe a handful of them might have been actual North Carolina people. I believe that Sherry Willis Birch, the pretty blonde sorority girl that is dating Gary, I believe she was actually from North Carolina, and she was the secretary for the production offices that made this movie. So that's kind of how she got into the movie. She is also on the movie Killer Party, and she plays the nerdy character of Vivica. So you can see her like in two totally different roles. So it's almost hard for me to believe it's the same actress, but it is. And now I think Sherry Willis Birch teaches elementary school kids or something like that. So there's other people that have showed up in other like North Carolina features, like Death Screams or House of Death. The guy that plays the security guard for the campus security guard is the same guy that plays RC in House of Death or Death Screams. He's the one that at the beginning when they're in the grocery store and RC says something to the sheriff about let's keep the powder dry or something. I don't know exactly what that means, but maybe you guys can explain it to me. And he also shows up later at the little carnival they're having, and the girl behind the booth where they have the desserts, the pies and the brownies and all that stuff, she's mad because the coach won't pay any attention to her. And then this guy comes up. I think he plays Mitch. I think Mitch is his name on Final Exam. But RC comes up to her and she gives him a really small piece of pie, and he said, that's a mighty little piece of pie. And she slaps a whole bunch of meringue and crap on there, and she said, is that enough for you, or you want to go for seconds? And then she just kind of stalks off, and I'm guessing it's her mother in the booth with her. She says, Sarah, and she says, I am so sorry. And he says, that's all right. I'm mighty partial to this meringue anyway. And he goes on his way. But I really like that guy. I wish that I was able to see him in more stuff. I mean, I'm sure he's long gone by now, but he was really good in both of those films. Um, let's see. Darren, you say there's only the out of print DVD. Lucky enough, I got it early. Um, you say Wildman and Radish are two of the best characters in the slasher film. I totally agree with that. And that's one reason why I can't understand why so many people don't like this movie when it has such colorful characters in it. TJ, you say Final Exam is kind of slow and low on the blood, but characters are fun. Yeah, yeah, you got it, TJ. Like a horror comedy, but that gym kill is physically brutal, in my opinion. Yes, that's probably one of the more brutal kills in the movie. Darren, you say that kill is awesome. Uh, Darren, you say everyone had a wild man in their school. Oh, yes. I mean, like, I knew, actually more than one wild man type character when I was in school. People that would do anything. Anything. Like, I knew this guy. I'm sure he's grown up immensely now, but when we were in middle school, this guy, um, they paid him $5 to lick something off of the lunch table that we had no idea what it was. It looked pretty gross, but he did it for $5. So I totally get that. And Darren, you say, I need to get the novelization of Final Exam. The lead girl actually makes friends with an owl, and it varies from the film. You know what, Darren? I did not realize that there was actually a novelization of it. I'm going to have to look into that. I'm wondering if I could pick it up off of eBay or something. I mean, usually I'm on top of which movies have novelizations, but that is one that I really did not know existed. Um, the other thing that people don't like about this movie, and I hear this a lot, is other than they think it's a little slow. But this is one movie where I like getting to know the characters. I like getting to know Courtney and Radish and Janet, Sherry Willis Birch's character. Um, I really, this was one, there's only a handful of movies for me where I enjoy getting to know the characters, and I'm talking about horror movies. Um, and this is one of them. It for some reason it is so refreshing in this movie to be able to um, feel like you're kind of walking and talking with these characters and getting to know them before bad things start happening. And sometimes I think that can be a good thing for a film. But like I was going to say, the other thing I hear people voice their dislike about is the fact that a killer with basically no motive other than he's crazy, obviously, just pulls up outside this college, stalks around with a very Halloweenish vibe. And for those of you that have seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. For instance, when Courtney's studying, she looks out the window and she sees the killer out in a wooded area, and she kind of frowns. She's concerned. Who is this guy and why is he lurking about here? And that reminded me a lot of Halloween when Laurie Strode's character looks out the window at school and she sees him standing in front of the car that he had stolen. And again, when she gets home after school and she looks out her window and she sees somebody in the backyard, Michael Myers is actually in the backyard. Um, so, Darren, you say you think it's pretty cheap, so I'm gonna look around for it and see if I can get my hands on a copy. Because I would love, like, it's just like April Fool's Day. I read the novelization for it. I've also read the novelization for Halloween. And that really gives you like another layer to deal with other than just watching the movie and what they were able to put into it. Hey, Dirk. Uh, you made it here. I didn't know if you were going to make it tonight because I went over the force pretty quickly and now we're on final exam, but you did get here in time for final exam. Darren, you say again, people say it's boring. I don't get that. It flies by for me every time. It does for me too. This movie, um, I didn't think was very long. I'm trying to. It is 94 minutes, so it's not on the shorter end of movies, but I'm like Darren, it flies by every time I watch it. You say the fact that we don't know the killer, I think, makes it unique among slasher films. Exactly. That's what I've been saying for a long, long time. That why do we have to have a killer with a motive? I was talking about the forest and how I didn't really understand what was going on there, but they're two different types of films. Um, the setups are both different in the films. And so with Final Exam, I don't think you need to know who the killer is, what his motive is. It makes it a lot creepier that this guy just shows up out of the blue and says, it's like he's going to drive by the college and then he stops and he pauses and then he turns into the college and you're like, these people are in trouble now because this guy's decided to set his sights on another college. Because we know from the beginning scene that he was on another college campus and killed a couple of people at least, even though we didn't see the girl in the car getting killed. But that's something else that makes this cheesy. I just wanted to talk about the beginning kills, or actually, we see one kill. But when the girl is screaming, that is not that actual actress's scream. Cecile Baghdadi, who plays Courtney in the movie, did the scream for this girl. But what I think is so cheesy is usually when people are screaming, they don't take a pause and then start screaming again. That's what this actress does. And then, of course, you've got Cecile Baghdadi's scream in the background. You see the chick open her mouth, she stops, then she goes, ah, ah. It's just like, I don't think people scream like that. So that's another cheesy aspect to the movie. I think my stuff's going off. As I've said before, I have Teams, Cisco or WebEx Teams on my phone, and although we're not required by any stretch of the imagination to answer anything when we're off the clock, but I sometimes get so many notifications from it when I'm not working that I have to turn them off. Durkee said, I've never watched it because so many have told me not to waste my time. Well, Dirk, don't listen to them, buddy. Give this one a try. I think you'll enjoy it. See, Darren's saying it's a really fun slasher, and I have to agree with him. Durkee said, I should know by now to always reserve judgment. You're going to have to check it out. Yeah, and let us know, when I have another live stream, if you get a chance to watch it before I have another live stream, which I'm really trying to pound these live streams out because I'm trying to keep content out there. Not that I'm trying to get popular or anything, but I want people to know that, hey, she's interested in putting content out there for us to watch. Somebody actually commented, and I paused a little bit because I didn't know if they were being sarcastic or not, because sometimes it's hard to read into what somebody is really saying when it's only text and you can't see facial expressions or anything. But they commented on one of my videos and said that they were glad that I went on for more than an hour with some of my, or many of my live streams, because they said most people don't go on that long with them. So either they liked it or they were being a little sarcastic. But either way, it's a fine comment. Um, but yeah, Dirk, definitely let us know about that. I would love to hear your thoughts on it after you watch it. And if you do hate it after you watch it, I'm so sorry. But even if you don't have a physical copy or a way to get a physical copy quickly, it might be on Tubi. I think it was on YouTube at one time as well. Middle Lake, you said, what's your favorite fan films? Uh, well, you know what? I wouldn't, I don't know if I would call these fan films or not. You know, I like some of those Friday the 13th fan films that they make, but Steve introduced me to something called a fan edit. And I don't know how many of you have heard of that. And I don't know how many people are doing these now. But there used to be a guy, I think it was a guy, that did a whole bunch of fan edits where he would, you know, edit the movies in such a way that it almost made it seem like a totally different movie. And then he would, I think he did like mashups where he would mix two movies together, like he mixed Jaws with something else, and it was just really cool. So I like those fan edits as well. Let's see. Mill, like you said, long live streams are preferable to me for certain. Gotcha. Uh, TJ, you say, watch Final Exam with friends, so if you don't like it, you'll at least be able to make fun of it. That's right. If it's not your thing. Dirk, you say, okay, I'll give it a fair shake for sure. Darren, you say, I much prefer longer streams and podcasts. Mill, like you say, fan edits are somewhat common. Yeah, I mean, I hadn't heard of them, you know, prior to dating Steve, and then he introduced me to it. But at the time, I don't know if you still have to do it this way, but you kind of had to go through a process to be able to download them. There was certain software or something that you had to have, and I've forgotten I'm sure it's on my older computer because Steve sent me all this stuff when we were dating. So I was living with my parents, and he was living here in Louisville. Um, Dirk, you say, I watched Devil Times 5 earlier. It's pretty decent. I give it a 3 out of 5. Are you talking about Devil Times 5 with Leif Garrett in it? You're very young, Leif Garrett. That movie actually does have some really creepy moments in it. Those kids are very devious and sadistic, and just certain looks that they give the adults in that movie, like, you just wait, I am going to kill you, are very creepy. Very, very creepy. Um, but back to Final Exam, I'm going to go over a few more things. Another thing I like about this movie, and it's not really a cheesy aspect, it's just something I like. Um, the character of Radish is obsessed that there's, you know, crazy people all around, and, you know, he's got to protect himself and he's got to protect Courtney and all this stuff. And it is very clear early on that he has a major crush on Courtney. But in his room, his dorm room in the college, he has posters for toolbox murders. Um, that I don't know. I need to fix that because every time now it tells me that the light that I have set kind of on a timer for my snake um, is not functioning properly or something. I don't know. But anyways. Okay. But anyway, sorry, I got distracted by that. I need to quit having my phone back here. Um, let's see. See, yeah, Darren, you're like me. You say I could never work out how to do the software with those fan edits. Yeah, it just seemed. I thought at first it was just me, but if other people were having trouble with it, it must be complicated. Um, Texas, you say Devil Times Five is great, excellent killer kids movie. I agree. Darren, you say I've not seen Devil Times Five. Always heard decent things. Yeah, it is definitely worth a watch or two. Um, Mental Lake, you are correct. 1981 did have a lot of slasher and horror movies. Dougie say, yeah, longer streams are preferred for sure. I listen at work, so the less that I have to find another one, the better. Um, I think Steve, I'm not meaning to talk bad about him or anything. Well, I'm not really talking bad about him, but I think he thinks that, like, I do way too many of these and that they're way too long and et cetera, et cetera. Um, well, look who's here. Uncle Bill's here. He said the best Killer Kids movie is definitely Beware Children at Play. It's been a while since I've seen that one, but I remember it being pretty good. What about the children though? That one's good. Um, the kids with the black fingernails. You say the ending. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it because I'm totally blanking on the ending for it. Um, but like I was saying about Final Exam, Radish does have like these. I think he has a poster for Murder Is My Beat. He has one for Toolbox Murders. And I want to say he's got one for Texas Chainsaw Massacre as well, but I could be wrong. So there are a lot of little nods in this movie to horror movies in general. So I like that aspect. Mel, like you say, was the beginning of the Final Exam inspired by the Son of Sam murders? I am not really sure on that, Mel Lake, but I could see how it could have possibly been inspired by that. Only the killer doesn't use a gun, he uses a knife, but, maybe they wanted to change it up a little bit. Darren, you said that's another I've never seen. Also, never seen The Brood. Oh, wow, Darren, you definitely need to see The Brood. I think I remember you telling me, though, on one of my live stream, or maybe it was the Cronenberg live stream, where you said that you hadn't seen The Brood. Dirk, you say, haven't seen Beware. I do remember the children at a very young age watching late night on USA. See, I think Steve remembers watching that when he was a lot younger too. But I don't recall doing that. It was much, much later in life before I ever saw the children. But I love that movie. Um, so what else can I talk about Final Exam? Like the whole relationship between Gary and Janet um, is just so weird because it's like it's very over the top acting on mostly Gary's part, the character that plays Gary, because like he has to go talk to the fraternity brothers and then he comes back and Janet wants to know what they were talking about and he said, well, I can't tell you about it, it's a secret. And she said, all these old secrets. He said, and then they talk about, she's like, do you think it's very much fun sitting here waiting for you to come back? And before that, he was telling her, I know that, Janet, but it's a lot of fun. He's just so whiny and cryy and all that. He's completely, seems like he's, you know, pussy whipped pretty much. I hate to use that term, but I mean that's pretty much what it sounds like. But then when he's supposedly by himself, tied to the tree, he's like, oh, Janet, please get here. And then he says, that bitch is always late. So you don't know if he really cares about her or not, because it's like when the going gets tough, he's like calling Janet a bitch and everything else. So, and then there's a girl in here. I don't know really what part this girl is supposed to play in this movie. She's just kind of there. I mean, she seems to be hanging out with all the different main characters in the movie. Um, but there is one scene that adds an extra layer of cheese to this movie. This chick is walking down, up and down the hall in the dorm looking for Janet because she was previously out there when they treated Gary, and she was spraying stuff on Gary and hopping around and doing all that stuff. And then he's like, please go get Janet. And she's like, oh, okay, I'll go get her. So she's walking up and down the halls in the dorm, uh, calling for Janet. Janet McCordle, and she's doing that. And all the while she's doing that, you see her reach her behind her to her ass and pull a wedgie out of the crack of her ass, I guess, because it's like, what in the world? Um, this girl doesn't seem to fit the. I mean, I'm not saying you got to be a certain way to go to college, but she just doesn't seem to fit any college template uh, personality that I could ever think of. Um, hey, John. Let's see. Yeah, but Uncle Bill, I gotta talk about final exam because that's part of my live stream tonight. Darren, you said the opening kill and final exam in the car. There's an exact same scene in Superstition. It's uncanny how similar they are. Oh yeah, I'd forgotten about that. You're right. Uncle Bill says it ain't nary count. Well, I talked about the forest before this one. Do you like that one any better? Texas, you said the children is unintentionally hilarious, but Bloody Birthday is great. I love Bloody Birthday as well. Darren, you say Bloody Birthday is so underrated. Dirk, you say hell yeah, Bloody Birthday is great. John, you say Radish is in Terror in the Isles watching the movie in the theater. You are correct, John Martin. He is. And that guy, I feel like that guy could have had a bigger career in horror. It's just sad that his career didn't seem to take off in that direction. And Darren, you say, John, yeah, I think he mentions that on the commentary. Uncle Bill, you say, I pretty much like any backwoods slasher. Rituals don't go in the woods, the forest, just for dawn, all killer. Well, what I was saying about the forest is I still couldn't get through it to the end. And I just basically ran out of time before I could do this live stream, which is one of the main reasons why I didn't spend as much time on it. But perhaps I'll be able to find some time here in the near future to actually sit down and watch the whole thing. Well, I'm like you, Uncle Bill. I like a lot of these backwoods slashers as well. Um, but I don't know. This movie has pretty decent kills. A creepy killer who basically just shows up with no motive, which I find creepy. You have a lot of unique characters, including Radish and Wildman. The girl that has the wedgie in her ass and has to pull her underwear out of the crack of her ass. I mean, there are a lot of fun characters in this. The coach, the sheriff, even though he's a dick, Mitch, the security guard. I mean, I don't really see anything not to like in this movie. Um, so I would say if you think it's dull and boring, just give it another try. Like, give it a try when you don't have anything else pressing, that you can just sit down and watch this movie and enjoy it for what it is. And Darren, you say Just For Dawn is another so underrated, one of the best in my opinion. I love it. The killer in that is, or killers, is just amazing. TJ, you say first time I ever heard about the forest was from Uncle Bill and CK back in the old Dead Pit days. Um, yeah, that may have been the first time that I heard about it. Madman. Funnily enough, I had seen Madman prior to even knowing who Dead Pit was. It There used to be a store that sold like music, CDs, and stuff like that. Prior to the CD boom, they sold records. If they were still around, they'd probably go back to selling records now. Um, but they also had movies. And I guess I was looking through a book on horror movies, and I came across a review for Madman, and it sounded intriguing. And so I went to Waxworks and I asked them if they had Madman, and they said no, but we can order it for you. So they did, and I had to wait about a week or something, and then they called me and told me they had it in. I went and picked it up, and I still enjoy Madman to this day. But yet I will always tell you that The Burning is a better horror film than Madman. Madman's fun, but if I had to pick the better of the slasher film or horror film, I would have to say it was The Burning. Oh boy. Somebody's coming in here. I hope they don't start this stuff with the porn stuff, because I have no idea what that writing is, or symbols are that Abd Rahim is putting in there. So look out, guys. There'll probably be some kind of thing about porn in here before long. Um, let's see. Durkee say, I saw The Forest real young as well. I remember my mom would rent a VCR almost every weekend before she could buy one. Watch it along with Boogeyman. Oh, Boogeyman is great as well. Yeah, I agree with you, Darren. The Boogeyman is Uwe Lamel's only good film. I would definitely agree with you on that. The Boogeyman is great. Um, I want to cover it sometime. I don't know if I'll put it in my Cheese Extreme Wednesdays, but I do want to cover it at some point. But this, guys, might be a little bit shorter than some of my other live streams, unless you guys want to just keep talking about different things and comment on different things and stuff like that. Till around 10ish, we can do that. Or I can just get the hell off here when I finish talking about Final Exam. But I did want to bring up the special features that this has on it. You get a new high definition transfer from the original camera negative. You get audio commentary with cast members Joel Rice, Cecile Baghdadi, and Sherry Willis Birch, which is absolutely fantastic. And it also, I forgot who the two people are that are moderating the commentary, but the woman on there has an actual homemade radish shirt that she has made because she loves the character of Radish so much, played by Joel Rice. There's also interviews with cast members Joel Rice, Cecile Baghdadi, and Sherry Willis Birch, which is also excellent. And you get a theatrical trailer. Now, although this isn't like packed full of extras, the extras they do have are quality extras, in my opinion. So, I think that I've said all I have to say about, or at least right now, about Final Exam and the Forest. Um, oh, hey, John. You say, yo, all long day. Just remember this was on. That's okay, John. Actually, I've just finished up with Final Exam. Um, you know what I think I'm going to do? Because I haven't picked any movies for next week, and I kind of want to give you guys that are in here a heads up on what I'm going to be covering next Wednesday. But let me read these comments. You say, John, you said The Forest, definitely more of a Final Exam guy. Me too, John. Darren, you say, I bought 2 DVD editions of Final Exam because they have different commentaries. I didn't triple dip with the Blu-ray though. Um, but guys, I'm just going to step away for just a second and pick the next 2 movies. It shouldn't take me very long. Put this Evil Dead background on for you. Okay, and I also put a fresh light or a fresh battery in my light. So let me see what I missed while I was picking these movies out. TJ, you say, speaking of Evil Dead, I heard Bruce Campbell was talking about maybe having an animated Ash versus Evil Dead show, but nothing concrete. Might be interesting. Oh, I agree. I would be willing to watch something like that. Uh, Turkey said they're gonna milk it for all it's worth. TJ, first the series and the game, now a cartoon. Um, I agree, Darren. It would be cool if it comes off. But I was going to let you guys know the 2 movies I've got set up for next Wednesday. We're going to be talking about Frank Henenlotter's Frankenhooker. And I don't know how many of you guys have seen this one, but this is one, again, Steve says that he never ever wants to see again. We did a commentary for it, but he's not interested in watching it ever again. And that is Hide and Go Shriek. So again, I don't know how I figure a lot of you have seen Frankenhooker, but I'm not so sure that many, if any, have seen Hide and Go Shriek. Yes, TJ, it definitely is all about the moolah. Um, so I am going to, like I said, you guys continue to chat in there. I'm just going to ramble on about a few things for a few more minutes. Um, I am continuing to try to improve my setup for my live streams. Not that you guys care so much about the technical side of it, but, although I never see it being perfected, because I really don't think that it's possible to achieve complete perfection with these setups unless you're just really rich. But I'm doing the best I can, and although I won't be buying any more lights, I think I finally got my lighting set up the way I want. Um, and I think, as far as my logos and stuff like that, I think I've got that pretty much the way I want. But I like my microphone pretty well, but I may either adjust the microphone I have, and I was thinking maybe I can't put it right at the top of my desk, but the lower part of my desk, I might be able to clip it on there, because where we've got it mounted right now, or where Steve had to help me mount it, the wood piece on my desk is getting kind of loose, where I am constantly having to pull the microphone over, and I'm afraid eventually that board is going to come off. Um, Either that, or I maybe can figure out a way to clip it on the desk part. I can't do it on the corner, but I might be able to do it where the keyboard tray is at the corner. Um, see. John, you say Frankenhooker is pretty good. The main guy's New York accent is so strong. Where's my Johnson? Huh? TJ, you say I've seen Hide and Go Shriek, but not in a long while. I'll need to check that out before the stream. Yeah, you've got until next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, TJ, to watch it. Darren, you say I need an excuse to see Frankenhooker. Got the Arrow Blu-ray. Hide and Go Shriek is one I like a lot. See, me and Darren are in sync again, because Hide and Go Shriek is one that a lot of people make fun of. And there are cheesy aspects of it, but just like Steve, he doesn't, like, once we did that commentary, he's like, God, I never want to watch that movie again. Um, Texas, you say never seen Hide and Go Shriek. You may be, do you have Tubi, Texas? Or you might be able to find it on YouTube as well if you wanted to, just give it a quick watch. Frankenhooker is so good. It's cheesy, but it is good. John, you said, did the arrow sale end? I saw Amazon prices were back to normal. It may have, John. I'm not really sure. That might be a better question for Darren, as far as if the arrow sale has ended. Wow, Dirk, you haven't seen Hide and Go Shriek either. Interesting. So I'm going to really be interested in what you guys have to say if you can join me for the live stream next Wednesday. I'm going to have to tool myself back down to the, not that you guys want to hear this again, but I got to tool myself down to the little clinic again at Kroger's. And what I've got worked out with my employer, at least my manager and my supervisor, they are willing to let me, work from home as long as I need to, but I need to, every month that I'm going to be working from home, I need to get a new doctor's note. So I'm going to have to go Saturday, I guess, to the little clinic again and just explain to them, hey, I've been diagnosed with long haul COVID. I've had blood tests run. There's not anything else wrong with me, thankfully. But I do need this note saying that I need to work from home until these intermittent fevers are gone. And hopefully they will comply, so I don't have to, lose my freaking mind trying to figure out how I'm going to do this. Because I told my mom last night, I said, if they tell me I have to come back to work, I'm going to say, fine, I will come back to work, but it's got to be the understanding that if somebody gets sick because I'm running fevers and came into the office, it's not going to be my fault. So, I mean, but it hasn't come to that yet. So, I'm just doing what they say and, dotting my I's and crossing my T's. Uh, Darren, you say, I'm thinking there's going to be another UK arrow sale soon. Maybe there'll be like an end of summer sale, you think, Darren? Or do you think they'll do it before then? Texas, you say, yes, I can check. Dirk, you say, Frankenhooker I've seen too many times, but it's always good every time. TJ, you say Hide and Go Shriek is on YouTube. There's one bad and one passable copy right now. Yeah, actually, before the Blu-ray came out, Steve was able to find a very good copy that I don't know if he got it off of YouTube or he actually downloaded it from somewhere. But it was probably about the best copy that was out there till the Blu-ray came out. Dirk, you say I piled up several Criterion and Kino on this past sale. John, you said, to quote CK, Dana, you should tell work to go shit and fall back in it. Well, John, I understand that mentality, and I've gotten really frustrated through this whole situation. But my frustration has mostly been dealing with the HR department because, as I said before, somebody else that's in the same situation as me and has been working for almost 2 straight years entirely from home, never coming to the office. They told me to get something called intermittent FMLA, and they told me who to contact in our HR department, and they told me they were really good. And after talking to her, I was like, bullshit, this person is good. They weren't willing to give an inch or help me in any way. Basically, at the end of the day, they told me because I'd only been working for stockyards for 3 months, I wasn't eligible for any kind of leave like that. And actually, I'm not really wanting leave. I just want permission to work from home until I'm better. Which shouldn't be so hard for somebody to wrap their head around and be able to give somebody permission to do. Because I'm still getting my work done. Actually, my output has increased since I've been working from home because I'm not so intimidated by working in the office where I feel like a lot of people are listening and watching every move I make. And I'm in total communication with my manager and my supervisor and my other coworkers through the Teams chat. So there's no disconnect there. But Kevin and Kim, my manager and my supervisor, have been really great. As with the library, a lot of my frustration comes from trying to deal with the HR department. The HR department is meant to, although they're not a union or like a union, they are supposed to protect the worker. And it seems like they work against you more than they help you. But anyways, you say, just kidding. Texas, you say, take your prayers and say your vitamins. Exactly. I've been doing a lot of that. I'm kind of hoping they can give me some more medication. Probably not any antibiotics. They're probably not going to give me any more antibiotics, but something for pain, something for this cough. And I guess I'll just keep taking over the counter stuff to reduce my fevers. Yeah, I believe that now. I didn't realize it at first. I thought at first the HR department was on the employee side, but it is not. It is exactly what you said, John. The HR department salary is created to cover the company's ass. Darren, you say it's cheaper for them if you work from home. It's crazy that they want you back in the office. It should be a win-win for them. Well, I don't think that Kim and Kevin it really matters that much to them. What Kevin said originally was I gave him one doctor's note, and then when I went into the second month of working from home, he told Kim I might want to get a second doctor's note, just in case HR started asking questions about an hourly employee working so much from home. Now, I did a little bit of reading on that. I didn't understand that at first, why an hourly employee should be any different than a salary employee and whether or not they work from home. But once I did some reading, it turns out that some people take advantage of that working from home in that they get extra like overtime in. And a salary employee is going to get paid the same no matter how little or how much they work. An hourly employee is just that. It's paid by the hour. If you go over 40 hours in 1 week, you're into overtime. But see, I don't take advantage of stuff like that. And all they got to look at is the punches I've made on the time clock to know that I'm not trying to take advantage of the company by working from home. So I definitely see what you're saying, Darren, that it is cheaper for them. And with me being sick, it is more convenient for me to work from home. And I know they don't want you to use it as a convenience tactic, but when you're feeling bad, like the last 2 mornings, and I woke up in the middle of the night with my throat really dry and painful, really down deep in my throat. And when I get up in the morning, I feel like shit. And so I just make my way back to my desk. I put plug in my headset so that I can take calls. I've got a way to take calls. I don't have to actually have a physical phone here. We have something called Jabber, where when it rings the help desk or my extension, it rings through Jabber. And then if I can pick up the phone, I just put my headset on and I click on answer here on the screen. So it's a lot easier than it was with the library, where you had to have a laptop and you had to have your desk phone and all that. This, basically this is a soft phone situation. So it's a lot easier for me to do that than it is when I'm feeling so bad the majority of the time anymore, to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, take care of the dogs, have to be out at the bus stop by like 6:30-ish, stand out there in either the heat or the cold, depending on the time of the year, wait for that damn bus to come. The bus driver, one particular bus driver, when I first started this job, was really shitty to me. He was a real dick. And yelled at me every time I rode the bus because I wasn't doing something right to suit him. So, that was pressure. And it's just a lot easier for me to make my way back here in the morning. I get up about 5 minutes before I'm supposed to start my shift. That gives me enough time to turn on the computer and get logged in, get punched in on the time clock, and get started. And then I can go rest on my lunch break. I've got an hour-long lunch break. I can go sit in there in the living room with the dogs and watch a little bit of a movie or a television show, relax and have my lunch, and come back and finish up my day. So it's just, it also protects people, because with me running fevers, that means that I could spread something to somebody. Even if there's no COVID traces showing up in my body, when you're running a fever, generally you can spread something to someone. So it's not only just about me, it's about other people that I work with. John, you say, hopefully they'll let you stay home. It's silly. It's usually a lazy mentality spawned out by out-of-touch CEOs. The same idiots who say no cloud systems, all on-prem. Exactly. You say, I see LinkedIn advertising people to come back to the office. Like, are you kidding? It's 2022. It's a remote world. Yeah, John. And see, they realize that they're kind of painted in a corner now, because there was so much resistance to remote work prior to the pandemic. Then when the pandemic hit, everybody figured out that, oh yes, this could be done and it could be successfully done. And employees figured out how much more convenient and easier it was to work from home than to, for those of you that don't ride the bus, you have to keep gas in your vehicles and keep, there's all this wear and tear on your vehicle and all of that. And it is actually cheaper on the employer to have people work from home, but they just don't seem to want to admit it. I agree with you too, John. They should give the employees the choice. And, I'm just telling you guys this. I haven't said much to Steve because I think he thinks that I'm trying to buck the system in my favor. And maybe I am a little bit, but I am a really anxiety ridden, depressed individual. And sometimes I have really bad anxiety, I have really bad depression. Um, and some things in life really weigh on me mentally. So a small disagreement with Steve could really weigh on me for days. And with me being sick on top of everything else, it makes me feel worse. Um, or having a disagreement with somebody else, a friend or whatever, makes it worse. Um, and so I'm actually considering, I have a therapist and psychiatric nurse practitioner appointment coming up in August. I'm thinking of talking to them to see if they can come up with some kind of paperwork that says that I really should be working from home because of my anxiety and depression. Because I've been doing a lot of reading up on this. Evidently, having depression and anxiety is considered by the American Disabilities Act as a disability. And when you have a disability, your employer is pretty much required to provide reasonable accommodation for you. Now, that doesn't mean that they have to offer everybody the work from home option. But what I want my therapist especially to write up is something indicating that I work better in a quiet, more stable environment without an office full of people, and things of that sort. So we'll get to that point when we get to it. But the point is, I'm not faking my illness in a way as a way to extend my working from home. I really am sick, and I really am running fevers intermittently, and that's just the hard cold truth of the matter. Um, Darren, you say I would keep on until they agree with you to work from home permanently. Yeah, I mean, the only thing is Steve and my mom are, and I'm sure some other people are concerned too. They really worry that I'm going to lose my job if I keep pushing the envelope or pushing the issue. And I told my mom and I told Steve this. I said, if they tell me I've got to come back, if I want to keep my job, then I'll be back. But there will be that understanding that if I make somebody else sick, you can't blame me because you told me to come back to the office. Um, Darren, you say it's well known people get more work done from home than the office. Oh, like I said, my output has doubled or tripled since I've been working from home. Dirk, you say, kind of wish I could work from home, but unfortunately I'm working on other people's homes. Yeah, that makes it kind of a have-to thing to actually you have to go to people's homes to do that. Johnny say, some people love driving into the office. It's totally fine, but IT in general works better remote without distractions, in my opinion. Yeah, and there's really very little job duties that I can't do here at home. I could work this ticketing system all day long with no problems. I can take phone calls all day long with no problems. As long as I got internet and my headset's working properly, my jabber's working properly, I'm good to go. The only things I can't do is actually go out to locations with someone else. I don't drive anyway, so I would still have to go with somebody. They couldn't just say, Dana, drive out to Lexington today. and take a look at something, or drive out to 42 ops and take a look at something. I would actually have to either go with somebody or make plans to be at that location to meet somebody to work on something. So, really, they had me do very little of that anyway. When I first started working for the company, they had me go out on a couple, 2, 3 runs with some of the other employees just to see how things were done and things. Um, and I can't really, go check inventory and send things out to people or anything like that. But there's other people in the office that I could say, hey, could you send somebody a keyboard? Hey, could you send somebody a mouse? But as far as the bulk of my work day, these things can be done at home, and probably more efficiently at home than they could be in the office. Um, Darren, you say, I would mention your depression and anxiety to them. I'm sure they may change their mind. They should be looking out for you. And they do a lot. I feel like since Brian Reynolds was my manager at one of the library branches, Kim and Kevin have been some of the best supervisors I've had. Um, and so far, they've been really great about stuff. Dirk, you say there's pros and cons to anything, right? John, you said, agreed, Dirk. I think it's also the type of person. Some work great in that group setting. I'm a moody SOB, so I work better solo. Huh? Now, I'm a social person. I didn't used to be. I used to be really super shy and stuff. I am a social person, and at times I miss that office environment, but I don't miss it so much that I just want to go whole hog back to it. Because, like I said, with the Teams chat and everything, we joke back and forth. We could even talk to each other on the phone if we wanted to, if you actually wanted the voice contact with another person. Because Kim, my supervisor, has actually called me and talked to me when she wanted me to work on a ticket that was going to take uh, quite a bit of time to do, and she wanted to cover all the bases with that one. Uh, John, you say I can't handle office politics. In IT at Stockyards, we don't really have a lot, or that I've noticed, a lot of office politics. There was a lot more office politics in the library. Dirk, say, yeah, I work better solo for sure. Well, Uncle Bill, sadly, it seems like the people that think that are in the minority, or at least here in Louisville, because I agree with you. There's no reason for anyone in IT to have to work in an office these days. Oh, so you want me to text you later? You got some experience with writing letters like you're talking about, and in management with work from home situations like this. Well, bless your heart. Um, but Well, I'll just ask you when I text you. Um, Darky said, sounds like a power trip type thing. Maybe the higher ups have to be there so you know the same shit rolls downhill. Yep. Uncle Bill, you say, unfortunately, the mentality that my boss had when COVID hit about working from home was pretty narrow and silly. He reasoned that because the nurses had to come in, then everyone needed to come in. Yeah. I heard a lot of that later on, like right before I left the library. This isn't why I left the library. Essentially, I left the library because the wages were stagnant. They weren't paying anybody a living wage, really, except maybe upper management. But the situation I ran into was since COVID, I have been getting all kinds of sicknesses. And I think a lot of it is stress related. And Uncle Bill would probably understand that more than anybody because of the line of work he's in. Um, but a lot of people don't understand, they don't understand stress, really. And they think of it as something somebody makes up. Like Steve, bless his heart, I love him and everything, but he does not understand the terrible strain that anxiety, stress, depression, all that can take on a person, or just how heavy it can weigh on you, it's detrimental to your health. It can cause all kinds of problems with your health, and I think that's part of the reason why I truly cannot get well. Is because I am in a constant state of anxiety most of the time. Um, but what I was talking about with the library, what happened was um, they screwed around with me in the HR department and tried to blame it on me because I didn't word the paperwork right to get my 10 days of leave so that I could rest, and other people were able to take off and get to leave easily, and they weren't even that sick. And so it was just a miserable time. And then, so they said I needed to go back to the doctor and get another note. So I went to the U of L, like immediate care, and I will never go back to that place again. It was closed. And Steve said, "Well, why don't we go there?" He said, "Surely they can help you and give you a note." Well, no, they didn't do shit. They checked me out and they said, "Well, you're not running a fever right now," and they did a COVID test. You don't have COVID. Uh, you don't have flu. You don't have this, that, and the other. And then they basically wrote out a note that indicated I could go back to work in 2 days. I'm like, what the hell? This is not what, and I don't want to get in that same situation, getting the wrong nurse practitioner at the little clinic and them not giving a shit, and them basically saying, she's faking. We're going to make her go back to work and won't write me a note out properly. Because if you don't write those damn notes out properly that indicate that I should be working from home until the fevers are gone for 24 hours without taking any medication, then my employer is going to look at that and say, well, I think you need to come back. So I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop with that. I'm really nervous about it. So I understand what you were saying, Uncle Bill, about that, because the nurse practitioner who saw me at that U of L immediate care pretty much sat there and told me and said, well, we only get like 1 day and we got to come back even if we've had COVID. And I was like, what the hell? So I think they were a little bit jealous that people were getting 10 days some places. I didn't end up getting my 10 days that time. But so there you go. And I think that was part of the reason they wrote out the note the way they did. They were just pissed at their situation, so they weren't going to give an inch with me. Uncle Bill, you say he didn't see that some people could do work from home, and some jobs, that's just not a possibility. So he was willing to put everyone at risk to prove a point. Exactly. Johnny say, not to mention the traffic. It's like fucking Mad Max Fury Road here on I-65 Monday through Friday. Oh, God, yes. It is. I mean, and Steve saves a lot on gas, which makes him happy because, I'm not meaning to like make my husband sound like an asshole or anything, but Steve feels that if I'm going to be riding in the vehicle, if he has to come and pick me up 5 days a week from work, then I should pay him some gas money. Which most of the time I'm happy to oblige anyway, but like people like my mom, they don't feel like that I should have to do that. Mom thinks that I should be taken care of by my husband and not expected to give him gas money. He's supposed to have a certain duty as a husband in her eyes. But yeah, John, I get that about I-65. I really do. But I'll probably stay on here till around 10ish, guys. So I'm sorry we got off on like talking about, but you guys were giving a lot of good suggestions, and I think thank Aaron, aka Uncle Bill. I thank him for, jumping in there and offering to assist me a little bit. But if there's anything else anybody wants to bring up about the movies or anything, or what do you guys think of the choice we've got for the next watch along, which will be the first Sunday in August? We're going to be doing Pieces. I'm going to have a Pieces watch along. So I just wanted to, throw that back out there and make sure that sounded like a cool idea for everybody. Or do you think we need to revisit our choice for August? Anything like that, feel free to bring that up. Because I'm willing to be flexible. I mean, I'm looking forward to Pieces, but, if some of you have real big qualms about doing Pieces, then perhaps we could do another poll or something. Well, here's the thing, John, about my primary care physician. I cannot get a hold of her now. Steve can, because they've got him set up through this portal where he can contact the doctor directly. But I have no way other than showing up at her clinic, which is kind of a ways out there, just to go and have to make an appointment, then have to travel back out there to actually go to said appointment. Because if you call, nobody ever picks up. When the answer machine picks up, it says that the box is full, which means nobody's checking and clearing these messages off. They won't answer email. So I'm just stuck. I'm basically stuck without a primary care physician, and here I am, an insulin-dependent diabetic and everything, and can't get a hold of my physician. So, like I said, it's kind of like I don't even have one. Yeah, you say versus the clinics. But like I said, I wish I could go to my primary care physician. But Darren, you say Pieces will be awesomeness. Okay. And Dirk, it sounds like you're in the mood for Pieces. John, sounds like you are too. Um, so I guess we're gonna forge ahead with Pieces then. It sounds like. I was actually watching Pieces while I was what was I doing? Making spaghetti in the kitchen or whatever, and I had it going through Tubi on the Echo device in my kitchen. I tell you what, I don't care what anybody says. These Echo devices are really have become important staples in my life. Because, not only can I watch things on that bigger screen device in my kitchen, it's on my wall, and I can watch it while I'm cooking up something. You can set reminders on them, you can make grocery lists on them. I mean, there's not a whole lot that you can't do with these things, so I highly recommend them. Oh, man. Oh. But, yeah, you can't go wrong with Pieces. Bastard! Yeah, I can't do it like Linda Day George, but that's so awesome. Oh, man. Oh, we got about 4 more minutes before I get off here. Let's say, I didn't see old Curly Jaws in here tonight. Darren, you say, I defy anyone who doesn't dig Pieces, lol. Me too, Darren, me too. Uh, I was just looking there to see. It looked like we had 92 views on this, so that's pretty good. I think it's gonna take me a little bit to get up to the numbers that I did have, which weren't astronomical numbers, except on my werewolf, my favorite werewolf films. That thing has went up to like 19,000 views. I have no idea what's going on there. I don't know what was so special about that particular live stream. Steve says maybe I need to do a favorite vampire films. Maybe it'll get a lot of views as well. Texas, you say they should have had Bob in pieces. Texas, are you obsessed with Bob? But that would have been cool if they could add him in pieces. Durkee say Hereditary next. LOL. You mean for a watch along? Well, I guess we could eventually do Hereditary for a watch along. John, you say, I got to see the Bye Bye Man because Curly always mentions it. It's got to be horrible. Exactly. John, you say, John Martin, you say, haven't watched Graduation Day in a while. I always like that one. I do too. I like that one as well. Darren, you say, you got just under 300 subs. That's really good considering the time you've been doing this. Yeah, I mean, it's decent. I don't know if I had that many subscribers on my original channel or not. But I wasn't doing live streams either. I was just doing videos here and there and uploading them. I do think that the live stream route is a way to get more people interested in your content, and it's more interactive than just say like people leaving comments under a video that you've uploaded. And I'm really having a good time doing these too. So I'm glad that, Darren, that you made a point to say that it's good concerning the time I've been doing this, because you guys have always been supportive of me, but like, again, I'm not wanting to make Steve sound like an asshole, but he just says like, you're not really getting seen that much, Dana, and like, you're really putting a lot of effort into this, and I don't think that many people are watching. And so, although that hurts my feelings a little bit, I'm determined to like keep doing it on my own, doing it my own way, seeing what sticks. And hopefully I'll get to a point where I don't want to be ultra popular, but just where people, they know, oh yeah, that Evil Dead chick, yeah, she does such and such videos. I mean, I wouldn't care that, that like I said, I don't want to be ultra popular, because I think that entails a whole bunch of other mess that I don't even want to get into. But for people to just know, hey, oh, okay, she's the chick that talks about the horror movies and it's really into Evil Dead and all that stuff. I mean, that's all I really would need, and the camaraderie that all of us have in here when I have the chats. Dirk, you say, or Texas, you say that's because of the wolf cop hate. Dirk, you say, John, just don't. If you do decide to waste that time of your life, you'll remember what I said. LOL. John, you say, LOL, Dirk, true. John, you said, the maddening with Burt Reynolds is 2 hours I will never get back. Dirk, you said, bye-bye, man. Darren, you said the main thing is you're having fun. Oh, yeah, I'm having loads of fun doing these. And primarily that, I would hope that is the only reason I'm doing these. Now, if on down the road, far down the road, if I ever get where I can make a little bit of coin from this, that will be fine, if YouTube wants me to get monetized or whatever. But that's a long time in the future. Right now, I'm just riding the wave of, and here we go. Here's these stupid things. Look at that. How many times they put that shit in there. Well, thankfully, I'm about ready to get off here, so um, it's not really letting me take these suckers off either. Well, just ignore the Love Chat XYZ best adult dating site, guys. I guess now these suckers are making it where you can't even delete them off there because it won't do jack shit when I click on it. Anyway, they put that like 6 times in there. I wish they quit spamming my videos. Darren, you said these streams are an education for everyone. I learned loads. Well, that's good too. I'm glad that you are able to glean something from them, Darren. But on that note, I want to thank you guys again for showing up for this live stream. Thank you, Aaron, too, for showing up. I'm guessing. I'm guessing that CK didn't show up tonight. I didn't see him in here, but there may have been something else he was doing that needed to be taken care of. But anyway, I want to thank all of you guys for showing up tonight. It's been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. And I may try to do something on Saturday. I don't know yet. We got to take Reg to the vet. All this is through the day. I've got to have another doctor's appointment at the little clinic. Oh, goodness. He tried to get me another note. And, but I will think in between times about something I can do. If I feel really energetic tomorrow evening, maybe I'll do something if I can come up with something. But please don't hold me to that because I just don't. I'm kind of going from day to day right now, depending on how I'm feeling and stuff. But again, thanks everybody for showing up and hanging out for a couple hours. And I'll be back again with something. It'll be a surprise. Thanks so much, guys. I'm going to skedaddle on out of here, and I'll catch everybody on the flip side.